Welcome, traveler. Finally, my new microphone has arrived. Hopefully you can hear me better than ever before. Let me know in the comments down below how's the audio. And with that out of the way, today we have on our hands the first of the dead, Gravelord Nito. This is it. If you're interested, come take a peek into the cauldron. Nito was one of the original lords. He found the soul of death near the first flame, and together with the other lords, overthrew the dragon's power to give birth to the Age of Fire. Since then, he retired in his domain in the catacombs, not to sleep, but to scheme. He grants terrible powers to those willing to become his heralds of death. Wielding the power of death itself, Nito is the god of the graves, ever expanding his domain, amassing disposable servitors, and has no sympathy for anyone. His one and only goal is to spread his influence as far as possible, forcing everyone on their knees in the face of death. He is the pure essence of black. For 8 and double black, Gravelord Nito is an 8/8 legendary creature giant skeleton god. It has Delve, Trample, Protection from Black, and Toxic 4. Being the master of death himself, no black magic can affect him. His enormous size and powerful blows are reflected in his top line and Trample, and Toxic represents his poisonous attacks and the pestilent miasma he used to wipe out the dragons. Other skeletons and giants have Toxic 1 and Delve. This is a very powerful ability. I wanted to make him a skeleton and giant lord for flavor and uniqueness. There are very few skeletons in Magic, and the vast majority is extremely bad. While the same can't be said for giants, there are very few of them in black, making his ability very far from broken. But that's not all it does. For 2 and double black, you can tap Nito to mill 3 cards and gain the ability to cast skeletons and giants from your graveyard until end of turn. With this last ability, you ensure to be able to use your graveyard to the fullest, with the stipulation that you forego filling your deck with the best black creatures, put funny skeletons and giants instead. Gravelord Nito makes for an interesting commander for 2 main reasons. First, his really pushed abilities let you play with skeletons, a really unsupported creature type. Wizards seems to be really fond of zombies alone for some reasons. And second, the fact that most of your cards can delve for a discount, while also being able to be cast from graveyard, creates an interesting dynamic where you have to balance how many cards you want to get rid of and how many cards you want to keep in for later. Also, it can recast itself from the graveyard with his ability, which will never matter, but it's neat. And now, let's go over some of the most interesting cards that will bring glory to the Gravelord. Sadly, we won't be able to play Skeleton Swarming and Road Farm Skeleton, likely the 2 best cards for a Skeleton tribal deck. It's a sad loss, but I could not find a way to justify putting Nito into green. He's so deep into black that making him any other colors would have simply been wrong and a flavor fail. We'll make do without these pieces. While most skeletons are really bad, there are a couple that evade this rule. Underworld Sentinel and Skidrix the Blight Dragon are amazing creatures that synergize with the deck. The Sentinel rewards our milling plan, and the Dragon will greatly speed up our Poisonous Clock. While most mono-black giants are also draft chaff, there are a couple of really interesting ones. Grave Titan and Blight Titan are both 6/6 Death Toucher. The first one makes a bunch of zombies, while the second mills cards and incubates based on the size of our graveyard. While skeletons are an unsupported type, we still have a couple of lords. Death Baron and Death Priest of Miracle are solid inclusions. While not skeleton themselves, the Baron will give our world board Death Touch, and the Priest will help us create a bunch of tokens. A couple of particularly solid generic tribal support cards we can include in our deck will be Door of Destinies and Cover of Darkness. The Door, while too slow for most tribes, will be perfect for our skeletons, since most of them are really cheap, and with Delve we can cast a big chunk of them from both our end and graveyard. For just 2 mana, Cover of Darkness gives our skeleton a strong evasion ability with Fear, making sure non-black creatures won't be able to stop our infection from spreading. A couple of artifacts that I will never build a Nito deck without have to be the almighty Lightning Greaves and Altar of Dementia. I always recommend Greaves, but really, they are just that good. Our commander wants to attack or to activate his ability as soon as possible, and he also doesn't want to die. He is very expensive. We want those Greaves. The Altar is very important as a strong combination piece with our commander. Being able to sacrifice creatures and delve them out again is really powerful. It's also a strong way to protect our most important pieces for pesky exile-based removals, like Slow Explosions. The last 2 cards I want to talk about are inclusions that I feel should belong in any mono-black deck. These are Ugin the Ineffable and Expedition Map. This may sound weird, but bear with me. If you're playing mono-black, for your deck to function, you will have it filled with good artifacts. Many good artifacts. When I personally build a mono-black deck, I always end up with around 20. Being able to discount them all by 2 makes most of them free, allowing you a window to dump altars and mana rocks that got stuck in your hand later in the game. Also, the mastery is perfect to get rid of permanents that black is better removing, which is mostly enchantments. Since artifacts are usually colorless, so they are not good targets for Ugin. And the +1 is card advantage attached to a small body that can be sacrificed for value. Expedition Map is here because mono black, more than any other color, can benefit from a ton of powerful land cards that have generated mana way above the curve. You will always have a strong target to fetch out of your deck. Finally, the entrance to the catacombs is closed. If you enjoyed the video and wanna see more, please consider liking and subscribing. Leave a comment to let me know which character would you wanna see next. This was it. Thanks for watching.